Just by eating a 15-cent hamburger on the roadside, a down-and-out salesman who was about to go bankrupt became the richest man in the fast food industry who dominated the world. I still remember that day when Ray went to deliver goods to a customer. He found a long queue in front of the customer's door, and he also queued in with curiosity. Ray then ordered a 35-cent set meal, and he never expected that it took less than 30 seconds from paying the money to getting the change. His fresh hamburger set meal was ready, and this speed shocked Ray, who had just paid and couldn't believe it was his. In the United States in the 1950s, you had to wait at least 30 minutes to eat a meal, and it was common for the wrong meal to be delivered. But this store took less than 30 seconds, until after repeated confirmation. He finally believed it, but then he found that there were no cutlery and plates provided. The waiter told him that everything was in the bag and he could just throw it into the trash can after eating. Ray, who looked incredulous, had one last question. Where should he eat? Ray asked the waiter, who said he could eat anywhere as long as he wanted. It turned out that Ray didn't have the concept of fast food at that time. Then he sat on a bench on the side of the road at a loss and began to look around at other people's eating methods. Ray saw that everyone was enjoying it casually, and even children would hold it in their hands and take a big bite, which was the most delicious way to eat it. Ray followed the child's example and took a bite. Unexpectedly, a great story that subverted the catering industry began, and in just 3 years, it spread all over the United States in a short time, and later became the leader of the fast food industry in the world. If you think McDonald's only makes money by selling hamburgers, then you are wrong. Selling hamburgers is just a sideline. After his success, Ray once said that he was not selling hamburgers, but real estate. Before that, Ray was just a down-and-out salesman. At the age of 52, he has been struggling for most of his life, but has never achieved anything. Although Ray now has a company under his name, he will feel guilty when someone calls him boss, because the entire company actually has only one employee. Ray has to carry products around to sell all day. Not only does he encounter obstacles every day, he has to wait a long time for meals, and is often served the wrong meal by the waiter. And the most bizarre thing is, as for what he was selling, it was a milkshake blender. Others had 1 shaft, but his had 5, because he thought that as long as the supply increased, the demand would increase. This made the customer think that his brain was broken by 5 shafts. Every time he was turned away as expected. Just when he was at a loss, his subordinate called him. Someone ordered 6 blenders at once. Ray thought someone must be playing a trick on them, because 1 was enough for an ordinary restaurant. Ray didn't believe it and asked for the other party's phone number. Sure enough, the other party said that they had placed the wrong order, not 6, but 8. After hanging up the phone, Ray didn't want to think about whether the other party was playing a trick on him. After Ray confirmed the route on the map, he immediately drove to the 2,000-kilometer. From the customers outside, Ray saw the long queue outside the customer restaurant, and he ordered a classic set meal of hamburger, fries, and Coke with a try-it attitude. Unexpectedly, it only cost 35 cents. The speed of serving food was far beyond Ray's concept. He tried to take a bite of the hamburger in his hand, but unexpectedly, the taste was surprisingly delicious. Just then, a staff member in charge of cleaning and sanitation came to Ray. Through the conversation, he learned that the other party was Mike, one of the owners of this store. Ray also hurriedly stood up and handed over his business card, and couldn't help but praise their operational capabilities. Unexpectedly, Mike directly invited him to visit the back kitchen. Although the space here is small, it is not crowded at all. Each staff member has a clear division of labor. Each has his own process. All ingredients must be cooked according to the set time. In this assembly line kitchen, it only takes 30 seconds to make a burger. Mike told Ray that speed is the key factor in their popularity. From frying patties to packaging and selling, they have achieved the fastest speed after countless attempts, and all the tools here are customized by them. Ray was very curious about how they came up with these ideas, and Mike told him that all of this was thought up by his brother Dick. Because their last name is McDonald's, they changed the name of their restaurant to McDonald's. After learning this information, Ray couldn't wait to invite the 2 brothers to dinner that night, and the 2 brothers also asked R.A., talked about their entrepreneurial journey. At first, they only operated an ordinary drive-in restaurant. However, the poor customer base, the numerous dishes, the huge expenses of too many delivery staff and order takers, and various other problems also led to insufficient income. So the brothers decided to reform and focus on the main products. First, they reduced the previous 27 kinds of food to the 3 most popular ones, which were hamburgers, fries, and cola, and then canceled all the delivery staff and order takers. They also designed disposable meal bags, changed to window self-service food, and replaced all the tobacco and alcohol vending machines around the restaurant with trash cans. This not only indirectly drove away the gangsters, but also successfully created a family-style dining environment. However, the most critical thing is the meal delivery time. In order to shorten the meal delivery mode to 30 seconds, Then they closed the restaurant for 2 months to practice. They drew a floor plan of the kitchen on the ground and trained every employee over and over again on how to serve food without physical objects. They kept optimizing the whole process. They directly modified the kitchen layout for the inappropriate places until they found the most perfect solution. So after the new model came out, McDonald's caused a huge sensation in the local area. Ray tossed and turned when he returned to the hotel that night and couldn't fall asleep because he already had a bold idea in his mind. The next morning, he couldn't wait to find the two brothers and wanted to take their franchise rights to open McDonald's restaurant into a national chain of fast food restaurants. As a result, Ray was told that they had tried it and had once opened the 5th branch, but unexpectedly, there was a quality control problem. The dirty kitchen and poor service attitude quickly made the customer experience decline rapidly. Even the Market Supervision Bureau found them. In order to maintain the brand reputation of McDonald's, the two brothers finally had to suspend the idea of opening a branch, so they directly rejected Ray's request. Just when Ray felt helpless, the photo on the wall suddenly attracted his attention. 2 huge arches passed through the ceiling, and the novel and fashionable appearance was particularly eye-catching. Ray couldn't help but admire their avant-garde thinking. When he learned that there was such a store in Phoenix, Ray drove more than 300 kilometers directly to it without thinking much. He had never longed for success so much, and felt that this must be the closest time to success. When he arrived, it was already late at night, but gin. The light of color is the most dazzling. At this moment, Ray got out of the car with his eyes fixed on it. He seemed to see the future at a glance. Such glory will surely spread all over the United States in the future. The opportunity is now, and he must seize it firmly. So, the next day, Ray rushed home without stopping. At this time, his mind was full of the grand golden arches, but before he opened his mouth, his wife had guessed his thoughts. Because Ray had started many businesses before, unfortunately, each time ended in failure. Now he finally has a stable life. The wife didn't want to live the same kind of anxious life as before. The wife wanted to know when he could calm down, but Ray felt that if he didn't succeed once, he would ignore his life. Without his wife's support, Ray could only go back to the past again. He used to sell mixers, but now he has lost his passion. After every failed sale, Ray could only slap the car to vent his emotions. After a period of confusion, Ray found the McDonald brothers again and continued to try to persuade them. When Ray saw the fantasy golden arches, he thought of the various courts and churches he had seen most often in his years of running around. Although they are all kinds of things, people can always remember the cross of the church and the national flag flying on the top of the court. They all symbolize their unique meanings. Perhaps McDonald's can also have its own logo and become a new generation of church in the United States, so that people think of the golden arches when they think of fast food. After hearing this, the two brothers were all in a trance. They fell silent. This was not about setting up franchise stores, but about creating a business empire to spread Maimon like a religion. But this idea really touched the brothers. However, before agreeing to Ray's joining, they decided to control everything more strictly. There were many contracts written in black and white. Ray felt that as long as he had the franchise, it was insignificant, so he signed it without hesitation. However, the truth was not as simple as he imagined. When he took the business plan to the bank for a loan, the other party recognized him at a glance and laughed at him for all kinds of strange plans to get loans. In the end, he not only did not make any money, but also owed a lot of debts. No bank was willing to lend him money. Without the startup capital, Ray fell into trouble again. After searching for a long time, he decided to take another gamble. He secretly mortgaged his house to the bank without telling his wife. After getting the funds, he finally got a piece of land as the opening location of the new store. Soon after, his plan finally started as scheduled. However, at this time, he found that any new plan had to be checked by the McDonald brothers. Even adding a stove in the kitchen had to be reviewed for more than half a month. Even the sponsorship of Coca-Cola, which he had struggled to get, was rejected because of their business philosophy. Therefore, there were many disagreements and quarrels between the two sides, but each time they would end with tired and angry hanging up. He didn't want to waste phone bills on the brothers, because he had to save every penny to open a store. With Ray's continuous efforts, his new store finally opened. As the first McDonald's in the local area, this place is novel. The operation mode soon attracted many diners. On the opening day, a long line formed outside. Ray also personally came to the kitchen to supervise the quality control of the food. When he saw that the staff put one less pickle, he would immediately remind the staff to put 2 slices. When frying the meat patties, you have to press down once, so that it will be crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. At this time, a young man frying meat patties attracted his attention. The young man named Fred became the CEO of McDonald's in the future. Often, many daily encounters are accompanied by opportunities. Whether you can seize them depends on your own efforts. After the store closes every day, Ray will also clean the hygiene around the store himself. Obviously, this time he finally did one thing right, but the success of a store does not mean anything. The next step is Ray's real goal. He began to squeeze his head to participate. Various gatherings of rich people never miss any opportunity to promote. He lured those with overflowing pockets to join McDonald's, because after having obvious cases, he had 3 new franchise stores in a month. But his approach soon caused Dick's dissatisfaction. He was worried that this too-fast expansion method would have problems, and the facts were indeed as he guessed. Those investors only wanted to make money, and they didn't care about the quality control of the restaurant. This also led to the messy environment of the new store, and even the burgers were not made according to regulations. At this time, Ray also realized that if this continued, McDonald's would become the next drive-in restaurant. So he took the burger and angrily found the investor to argue that the number of pickles in the burger was randomly placed, and the lettuce and beef patties were either too old or unfamiliar. However, facing Ray's accusations, the investor looked indifferent, which made Ray angry and he cursed directly. The investor just wanted to find a place to make money. Finally, Ray angrily pushed the burger directly to the investor, and did not forget to give them an international greeting before leaving. The other 2 franchise stores were the same. The chaotic environment once again became a gathering place for gangsters. Seeing this scene, Ray immediately decided to terminate the cooperation with them. Just when he was at a loss for future development, a Bible salesman caught his attention. When he learned that the other party was selling just to make a living at this moment, Ray seemed to see his former self. Ray suddenly realized that rich people have a lot of opportunities, but only the poor who are struggling at the bottom will cherish the hard-won opportunities. So with his encouragement, the Bible salesman and his wife became Ray's franchisees, and soon their store opened. This man was just like himself in the past. He would supervise every production link in the kitchen every day, strictly control the quality of food according to regulations, while his wife would give free lollipops to children outside. Under the joint management of the couple, the store soon became a local signature restaurant, and this also allowed Ray to determine the future development direction of McDonald's. So he went from trying to squeeze in to attend the gatherings of the rich, to running around in many civilian communities every day. From the beginning of breaking down one by one to the later speeches on stage, more and more people who wanted to fight for this saw him. Countless people with dreams rushed in. His ambition caught everyone's eyes. Curtain, his opportunities spread among ordinary people. His golden color began to spread all over the country, and he became more and more courageous in a short time, and more branches were opened all over the country. Ray tasted the taste of success for the first time in his life, and he would go to the store to check their achievements in person. Ray's eyes gradually turned to the dream of the whole world, and it seemed that everything was moving in a good direction. However, one day the secretary suddenly told him that the funds in the account were not enough. Ray looked at the account book and found out the reason. The original contract only gave him 1.4 of the profit. Now, let alone expansion, even basic operations are difficult to maintain, and he has to pay a fixed share to the brothers every month. Ray wanted to modify the contract with them, but was rejected by them directly because they didn't want to expand so rapidly from the beginning. No matter what conditions Ray proposed, the other party refused with one word. Ray, who couldn't bear it anymore, hung up the phone directly. The contradiction between the concepts of businessmen and craftsmen seemed to be mixed with salt and sugar, which could never be sorted out and reconciled. Ray felt that they were pushing himself to the edge. What's worse was that the bank's debt collection call came directly to his home, which also let his wife know that her husband had mortgaged the property without telling her. Ray, who learned the news, was furious and found the bank. He asked the bank why it did this, but the other party just said that although you are the debtor, the mortgage is your entire family. Ray could only slam the table angrily and vent his anger at the lowest level. Vent. And now he is back on the single-plank bridge of life. Any slight wave can wash him away. That night, the franchisees also found Ray. They complained that the cost of various raw materials was too high. This completely exceeded their expected income share, among which the refrigeration and electricity consumption of ice cream accounted for a large part of the success. Fortunately, they thought of a way. that is, to replace the milkshake originally used to make ice cream with milkshake powder that is easier to preserve. This can not only reduce costs, but also greatly shorten the process of making milkshakes, and the ice cream made in this way tastes better than the original one. This gave Ray a glimmer of hope. But when he told the brothers about this idea, it was ruthlessly denied again. They would never, allowing people to cut corners on food raw materials, because this is their bottom line. This time, the other party hung up the phone stubbornly. Ray, who was desperate and looking at the increasing bills in his hand, went to the bank again to seek help. But at this time, Ray no longer had any assets to pledge, and the bank would not lend money to someone like him. Their conversation was heard by a young man nearby. When Ray left the bank, he hurriedly chased him, and the man named Harry in front of him would completely change the fate of Ray and the entire McDonald's. Harry said that with so many franchise stores and such a hot business, if they still couldn't swim in the pile of money, then there must be something wrong with the business model. Ray instantly felt that this guy had something, and Harry was not. After simply looking through the account book, he found the key to the problem. It turned out that the McDonald's stores were rented by franchisees themselves, and Ray was only responsible for training and providing corresponding equipment and operating technology. Harry thought that there was a big problem with this method. How much money can be earned from a hamburger? Even if 10,000 are sold, it is not enough to help Ray build an empire quickly. But if the land of these stores is under Ray's name, then the overall nature is completely different. All Ray has to do is buy the real estate and then rent it to the franchisee. As a mandatory franchise condition, there are two advantages. First, there is a stable cash flow in the early stage. The franchise funds will be received before the land is fully built. Second, there will be more expansion capital. The land purchased previously can be mortgaged, and further expansion can be purchased to buy more land and then get a loan. This is the real value. Not only can he completely control the franchisees, those who do not meet the standards can be kicked out at any time, and he can also undermine the control of the McDonald brothers over him, and even finally control all franchisees and funds. At this moment, Ray really stepped into this industry, so he turned around and opened a real estate company, and after getting the investment brought by Harry, began to acquire a large amount of land, and even the land under the McDonald brothers' stores was purchased by him. He also gradually shifted his focus from catering to real estate. Under Harry's crazy operation, McDonald's blossomed all over the United States and once became the most popular restaurant chain at the time locked stores, and all the land under the stores is in Ray's hands. After learning the news, Dick immediately called Ray to question him, but now he can't do anything about it after all. It is an independent real estate company. Ray did not change any of their restaurant operations, but only acquired the land under their storefronts, so they can't bind him with a contract at all. At this moment, the McDonald brothers realized that they had been completely sidelined by Ray. During the continuous expansion, Ray also kept in frequent contact with one of the female store owners. The same philosophy and the same personality allowed him to work hand in hand with her in his career, and his wife, who had never supported him from beginning to end, gave her all the house, car, and even savings, but not a penny of McDonald's shares. From then on, Ray's career progressed by leaps and bounds. With money, land, and backbone, he also had the instant milkshake that was previously criticized as useless. He immediately promoted it to all franchise stores. Even though this violated the contract between him and the McDonald brothers, Ray, who was rich at the time, didn't take them seriously at all, and even the brothers couldn't do anything to him. Not only that, Ray also openly provoked by printing McDonald's golden arches on the letter of his real estate company. After seeing it, the brothers condemned him as a vampire. But Ray no longer felt guilty at this time. He had done everything he could for them. Now, Ray was just doing it for himself. At this time, no matter what the brothers said, he didn't care. The brothers angrily threatened to take him to court. Ray said fearlessly that even if you win the case, you can't afford the high fees. The high the litigation fee is the threshold to meet Ray. Because at this time, Ray not only controls all McDonald's businesses in 17 states, but also owns all the real estate under the brothers' stores. And the brothers only have a small store in the desert, and a small native cannot defeat his empire. Mike was so angry that he was hospitalized, but Ray did not do anything to the extreme. In the end, he bought McDonald's from the brothers for $2.7 million and only verbally promised to give them 1% of the profits every year. It was just verbal, but the brothers had no capital to negotiate conditions. After signing the agreement, Dick happened to meet Ray in the bathroom. He was very curious. After Ray visited their kitchen that day, Why didn't he choose to open a store in their way? Ray explained to Dick that he was definitely not the first to visit, but who would put McDonald's? Did they do it? Because they were both missing something. Dick was very curious about what it was, but Ray didn't tell Dick in the end. Ray just said it was the name McDonald's, which was extraordinary in itself and could be anything. If he was smart, he would have guessed it long ago. If he could, he would have been the one who should have succeeded long ago. Seeing the McDonald's sign they founded was forced to be taken down, the two brothers, as founders, were filled with emotion. To this day, McDonald's is still one of the largest real estate companies in the world. The Entrepreneur is directed by John Lee Hancock, starring Michael Keaton, a biographical drama film released in 2016. The film is adapted from McDonald's real story of success and is also an inspirational story of success after being over 50 years old. In the film, entrepreneurship is given a philosophical meaning beyond business. 52-year-old Ray mortgages his house. The courage to go all out. The creativity of the McDonald brothers, from the drive-in restaurant to the assembly line innovation, is essentially a spiritual breakthrough of human beings to break through the inertia of survival. Just like the success tapes that appear repeatedly in the film, behind those passionate self-motivation is the tragic confrontation between entrepreneurs and mediocre life. When Ray expanded his business territory to the real estate and financial fields, entrepreneurship was sublimated into a kind of innovation in life state. He required to continuously break the cognitive boundaries and reconstruct the value system on the ruins of the old order. This spirit not only shaped the McDonald's empire, it also allows every audience to see the true wealth of life, which is the ability to constantly reshape oneself. The profoundness of the film is that it allows the audience to see their own living conditions in the business narrative. Well, today's movie sharing is here. Welcome to Like, Comment, and Forward. Thank you for your patience. Looking forward to meeting you next time.